Welcome back to another episode of Minis for Pennies, the show dedicated to game lovers with empty piggy banks. My name is Poor Andy, aka the Dungeon Miser, and this week I'm taking on a challenge from fellow crafter EARTHMANBRICK. As some of you know, he's a big fan of science fiction and robots, and this month he has issued a robot miniature crafting challenge. So I'm going to take a break from my usual fantasy miniatures and make a robot. If you ever walked into a comic book store or a hobby shop back in the 1990s, odds were very, very good you were going to see the wild, weird covers of the Rifts RPG books on the rack. Always full of bold colors and a bizarre mix of insane machinery and horrible monsters, they were a magnet for the eyes. Although I never actually played Rifts with the Rifts rules, I lifted quite a bit of the material for GURPS games and other homebrew science fiction romps from Rifts, and also from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles books from Palladium. So for a bit of nostalgia, today I'm going to make a robot heavily inspired by the Coalition faction in the Rifts universe. As you can see, they really like skulls. Really like skulls. A lot. Since most of their vehicles and other machinery have a skull motif, I'm going to do the same and make a scouting version of this Coalition Spider Skull Walker. For the body, I'm going to use this cheap skull decoration. These come in a big variety of styles and sizes, and they are plentiful at Halloween, so it's easy to make a swarm of these of just about any size if you want. For the spidery legs, I'm using my go-to favorite, the floss picks. I want to cut these into two segments, one for the sharp claws and one with the holes to make the limbs. To make the joints, I notch the corners of these pieces with a 1/4-inch hole punch. This will make a gap for the round beads that serve as the ball joints in the legs. Those beads are 5 millimeters, so it's a perfect fit for the 1/4-inch notch. And to connect the legs to the skull, I am putting on 4 pony beads to serve as sockets for the ball joint. I used my 1/8-inch hole punch to make some covers for the joints for the claws. And then I assembled the legs and attached them to the skull. So a robot is no good without weapons, and for the weapons and also a satellite uplink, I harvested some bits from an old toy helicopter and attached them to the body with some beads to give them some structure. Old toys from McDonald's and other things like that are a great source of weapons for sci-fi stuff. I also added some coiled wire and some of my coiled pipe cleaner rope to serve as those signature 90s data cables that all technology has to have hanging off of it. Give it that cyborg feel. Then I decorated the body with some dollar store Lego bits for some extra mechanical parts, and I added some rhinestones to one of the skull eyes for optics. I also wanted to give the robot some of those signature Coalition official numbering, but I didn't have any decals and I didn't feel very confident doing that freehand. So instead I found some nice chunky numbers on a plastic wrapper from some Easter candy, and I carefully snipped them off to decorate the laser cannon after it was painted. A really good source when you don't have the decals. Then it was time to base, Mod Podge, prime, and paint, and here is my finished Coalition Spider Scout. Are you feeling that 90s Terminator vibe? I like this project because the 7 or 8 Rifts players out there don't get much love from the miniature makers, so Homemade and Kit Bash can help fill in those gaps. price is also right. 12 pennies for the skull, 4 pennies for the legs, 5 pennies for bits, a penny for the base, and a penny for art supplies. So 23 pennies each, or 4 for $1. Thanks for joining me on my trip down memory lane, and thanks to EARTHMANBRICK for the fun challenge. If you have been enjoying Minis for Pennies, I would appreciate a cup of coffee. You can buy me one at the link in the description, just like these fine Dungeon Miser apprentices. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to boost the algorithm, and I'll see you next time for more of that good, cheap kit bashing fun.